Let's talk about air filters on these 10 to 15-year-old Mercedes-Benz. One thing I really like about these cars is the easy access to the air filter and how quickly you can change it yourself. Now, if you haven't done a lot of maintenance before and you're just kind of getting into it, the air filter is something that you can start on right off the bat. You know, there's a little bit different procedure for the different models, but if you're talking about a 5.0 V8, this is where the air filter is housed. There are actually two of them inside this top engine cover. This came off a E500, and if you look here at this S500, which also has the 5.0 liter, you know, you can see the same type of cover on top of the engine that houses the two air filters. Now, on a E320 or E430 with the 6-cylinder, you know, the air filter's off to the side, and that is really easy to access. I mean, that has to be way up the list of beginner DIY jobs. And why is this so important? You're saying, well, you cannot believe what I see out there as far as lack of air filter maintenance. Come on, these air filters are like $10, $15, $20, and yet I can't believe it. People won't change their air filters. You get these cars and they're all plugged up and you think, well, how much money has that person just lost in reduced fuel economy over the last 6 months when they've been running around, you know, with a plugged up air filter? So I just pulled this air filter off a W211. And let's open it up together. Let's see what we find inside, see how well this particular air filter has been maintained. For the purpose of this video, I'm only going to do one side. It's the same on both sides, so if we remove this cover, you get the idea how this needs to be done. On these V8 models, there's an extra step because you don't just unclip the cover, you have screws that you have to take off. So I'm going to remove these Torx bit screws. You can see how nice it is to have electric tool because it just, all right, let's take this off and take a look at, see something, oh wow. Can you believe this? Now, at first thought you'd think, man, there must have been a mouse, you know, come into here, but no. This air filter has been on a long time, and you know, these V8s pull a lot of intake air. So this is obviously sucked in the intake here and plugged up right back at the back of the air filter. Look at that. I mean, I've seen bad ones, but this one has really been neglected. So when you change these, I'm not going to reuse this, of course. You look down inside here and you can see, I'll show you a little bit better. I don't want to drop this junk down into the intake box. It's really important that you keep that intake box clean. But if we look here, you know, I spread this apart. Look at that. Can you imagine how well this engine is going to run after I replace these air filters? Not only is you got a lot of crud here, but every one of these areas is almost like it's totally plugged up. Look at that. Wow, that's really bad. And once again, when you're working with these air boxes, make sure that you don't let dirt go down in here. You don't want dirt to go down in here on this side because that goes directly into the engine. So I imagine the other side is just as bad. So there is a classic example, and look at how easy it is to change this yourself and what improvements you'll get from your engine's performance when you do it. The air filter assemblies on the W210 chassis are even easier to work with. The box, the upper part of the box is held onto the lower part with just these clips. So you literally just unhook the clips underneath here, and then you can just lift this top cover off. For the purpose of the video, I'm going to pull it off at this point. You can even leave it on and just slide the new filter in. But there's the filter, and you just have to reach down in, kind of peel the edge back. I got these gloves on, and I cannot get a hold of this. All right, see that? There it is. When you do get the the old filter out, you want to thoroughly clean out the box. Once again, make sure that there is no dirt or dust in this part of the box here. You get compressed air and blow that through. And then installing the filter is just a matter of slipping it in like this and reattaching the box. Now, what could be easier than that? So what's the moral of this video? Well, it's very simple. Take care of your air filter. Come on, it's not only easy, it's not expensive. So there's no reason to neglect this. In most situations, your air filter should be changed once a year. Maybe if you live in a very dusty environment, it should be changed more often than that. Like in the Southwest, you get a lot of dust storms and so on. If you live in a rainy environment, you don't get a lot of pollen and other junk in the air. You might be able to go, you know, a year and a half, but don't delay taking care of your air filter or avoiding looking at it at least on a yearly basis. And they're not expensive, so even if it looks kind of clean, you know, it's going to have very fine dirt particles inside. So get it out of there and get a new one installed. So you have to admit, this is an easy DIY job and certainly something you can do yourself. For years I've pondered why air filters don't get changed. And looking at this makes me want to ponder this even more. I think there's a number of reasons. One may be that I think owners don't understand the importance of changing filters, or may not even really understand what the filters do. I mean, this is so bad, I can almost guarantee you there's going to be a marked improvement in fuel economy and maybe even a little more horsepower when that engine is floored. I mean, this thing's probably really straining for air. And then also, this is one of the best ways to protect the engine of the car. If you allow any dirt to get into the intake and it gets into the cylinders, that can cause premature ring and piston wear, and that's the #1 reason why an engine will start burning oil. So there's good reasons why you need to do this, and there's a reason why you need to learn. No matter what car, it doesn't even have to be a Mercedes-Benz, you need to learn where your air filter is. Don't expect, by the way, and I'm going to repeat this, don't expect the person that is servicing your car is going to pay attention to these either. I mean, this car had been serviced by a Firestone outfit. They had done the oil changes, you know, and it had been supposed to have kept the eye on this car after it ran out of warranty. Do you think anybody has been looking at these air filters in the last couple years? I rather doubt it. And then, how can an air filter get so much crud in it, particularly in the Pacific Northwest, where there is a lot of rain and it's not really dry? You know, we maybe get 1 or 2 months of dry weather around here. Well, I have a theory about this, and it has to do with freeway driving and lots of traffic. And this is where this car came from. Miles and miles, a lot of miles driving in the Seattle area in heavy traffic. And you can imagine on a dry day, when you've got 50 cars ahead of you, how much stuff is coming off the freeway. And when you have something like a V8, which is pulling a lot of air, it's pulling a lot of air in that front intake grill. So just because you don't drive down dusty roads, or just because you don't live in the desert, don't expect that you're not going to see this in your air filters. This is another reason why you want to look at these at least once a year. And once again, if you're driving a lot of heavy freeway traffic, you might want to keep an eye on it even more often. So that's it on air filters. Let's move on to the next subject in the next video in this series.